All right, we are good. Welcome, everyone. Committee of the Whole meeting for Monday, October 24th, 6:30 p.m. on the nose. What I'd like to do is we'll get started, invite Gary and Ben up. I want to jump to number 8B on our consent agenda for the evening. Approval to purchase the High Ranger bucket truck. Going to jump right into that one then? Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Tonight we're coming in front of you to ask permission to deviate from our capital equipment budget. We've been looking at ways of trimming trees for the last couple of years on how we're going to get things done, because our contractor for roughly 24, 25 years is actually slowing down and thinking about retiring. So we've been working with him, like I said, for the last 24, and we got a Great Lakes Tree Service did some work for us last year, but it's kind of tough on scheduling and stuff like that. And on an average, on the last 4 years, we've roughly spent.
We're going to, if you see the screen, the closed captions on it's capturing the,
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, the sound bites.
okay. We good to go, or?
You can keep rolling, we'll figure it, we're going to turn that off, so there we go. Now we're
laughing at me. No.
This is a public meeting, Mr. Post.
Yes, I know.
We do
We're good.
That's good, go ahead, sir.
So the last 4 years, we spent roughly average about $10,000 a year. So this truck we're looking at purchasing is a 2007 High Ranger. We talked about purchasing one in the future, but the way the things are working with the availability on these things, are 2 years out, and they're roughly $250,000 to $300,000 for a brand new one. This one that we looked at is in good shape. It's an older truck. It's a 2007, but yet we had 5 or 6 guys go out and take a look at it. Some guys that have experience with running High Rangers, and some mechanics. All the mechanics went out and took a look at it, Pat and myself, and you know, it's a good truck. It's in good shape. Ben will go more into that. The reason this company is selling it, Summit Landscaping in Marne there's different ways of doing their business nowadays. They have what they call a spider, which is a smaller piece of equipment that can get in the backyard. So this truck is basically obsolete for them. That's why they're selling it. They don't use it much. But it's the perfect truck for us to use on the roadway, because it has a 70-foot reach, you know, it's stable, and it's a decent truck yet. So some of the question was, what about training and stuff like that? We did talk to Kent County Road Commission. They have 3 of these trucks that they have, and they are willing to give us a training for it. So of course we want to do everything safely on that. One thing we will not be doing is trimming around power lines and stuff like that, but we can use that truck in a lot of different ways, you know, from changing parking lot lights and, you know, a lot of things, I guess. So one way that we figured out the financing is we have a van in the budget for building maintenance. We talked about an EV at one time, but Ford has tendency to jump their prices like you wouldn't believe right now. So we had $35,000 in for that, and basically
We're far. It came in far above that now. It's close to $55,000 to $60,000 for that same van that was, you know, 35 to 40 last year. So.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do is just give that market time to calm down a little bit, so we'll use that money plus some of the savings that we had on some of the other vehicles that we purchased.
Good.
So I'll let Ben go over the truck a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
All right. I'm Ben. I'm the fleet services supervisor in the garage here. Just wanted to, the truck itself is a 2007 International. It is a used truck. We went over it mechanically. There's nothing jumping out that's, you know, that scares us at all. It's been up to date, maintenance records and everything. Actually comes with all the paperwork of anything they've ever done to it. Has a rebuilt engine, has 4-wheel drive, so which would be nice for in the winter, because we do most of our tree maintenance in the wintertime in lulls between snowstorms. 70-foot lift-all boom. It is all insulated and everything for OSHA requirements. It is up to date on all the boom and aerial testing, and up to date on It's called a dielectric test as far as the fiberglass conducting electricity throughout the controls. It is a single person bucket, which is actually pretty hard to find these days. Most of these consumers energy trucks are two-man buckets, so you kind of want the smaller bucket for tree work to be able to get in closer. Has built-in cab protection. This keeps the body of the truck nice, protects from falling limbs while doing that type of work. This is the actual truck, just showing the layout, the toolbox for your harnesses and chainsaws, has outriggers. That's the other side. Thing I liked about it was it's a flatbed, so you don't have a ton of cabinetry and things to rust out, need body work, things like that. It's pretty low maintenance, easy to maintain. Like I said, up to date on all its inspections, so it is actually ready to go to work once we put lighting on it for being in the roadway is all. So that's it. I can go back. But if you have any mechanical questions or
Commissioners? Questions for Ben or Gary on this? I mean, we've got a demonstratable ROI on it. There's obviously, because we had money set aside in the budget, the business that we've been using is going out of business. It really is forcing our hand that we have to make a decision one way or the other. Question, I mean, it's a small little technical thing, but are we going to need to repaint this, or will we just use some of the updated city logos?
Yeah, we'll just
Black or whatever.
Yeah, we
on
just
there?
put a updated city logo on the door. It'd probably stay white. As far as the bed, we would there's things down the road that will just maintain it, as far as sandblasting and painting as we go. But yeah, don't need to paint the cab or anything like that. So
I have a couple questions. In regards to the training with Kent County, is that going to cost us anything for that, or are they doing it just as a nicety?
Haven't really discussed that with
Oh.
them. Most of the time, there might be a minimal fee, but I can find that
Okay.
out.
Yeah. All right. And then the other thing is there just going to be limited employees that use this, right? I mean, obviously those that are trained, but are they going to be limited to certain people?
At least 3 or 4 people.
Okay.
Me, myself, I won't get up in it. I'm not
Yeah, I
going
get
in the
it.
air. So
Nor would I.
there are some people that will love it. I mean, we had
Okay.
one gentleman that had a tree service and worked in the family
Perfect.
tree service. So, yeah, we'll make that opportunity.
Okay.
There at least has to be 2 people trained in it, because if someone's in the bucket and it doesn't work, you have to be able to bring it down.
Yep.
So the more that we have trained, the better.
Perfect. Okay. That was it. No, I think it's a great way to problem solve with the retirement of the other person that did that service.
Like Ben said, one of the things is, if we have an open winter, if we get 3 weeks and we, call the contractor and stuff, it's easy to schedule, but then all of a sudden it snows or starts snowing in the afternoon. This will be a tool that, hey, all of a sudden it's not snowing, we got the truck, we can go out and do work, rather than trying to schedule that kind of stuff, to be honest with you. And there's a lot more trimming out there that needs to be done, because we've lacked a little bit because of COVID and getting out there and doing stuff and getting a new contractor, so. And emergency response, sometimes at night, we have a tree fall that needs to be trimmed up, we can't get to by just pushing it off with a loader, we'll have the truck to do it with, so.
Okay, just one comment. I just want to thank Ben and Gary for looking out for us. This was going to be something we were going to bring to you next year in the part of the CIP, but when the availability became available to us, we figured we better jump on this now, and we can shift a few things around, because as Gary said, if we order one of these, it's 2 years out at least, and this will be able to obtain, given your approval almost immediately, and get it into the fleet right away, and we'll make that adjustment in the CIP, and we should be budget neutral on that.
Coming around, commissioners, any other discussions? Any concerns? Quick straw poll. Are we good at 7 o'clock? Approval? We're good to go. Well done.
Thank you very much for your
Really
time.
appreciate you looking out.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we've got the expenditures. Do you want to cover the quick background, Public Act 152 and the resolution, our annual
Sure.
piece there.
No question on the bills, I'm assuming? Okay, good deal. The resolution that's on the agenda tonight is one we adopt every year about this time of year, and what it does is it exempt us from the requirements of PA 152 of 2011, and that required municipal employees to pay 20% of their health insurance costs every year, mandatory, unless we opt out of that. And ever since that's been law, we've opted out of it and only have required our employees to pay 15%. We continue to have very favorable insurance renewals under the market norm, so I'm very comfortable of recommending this again and staying that course. And it's really a nice benefit to the employees, and it's really a retention and attraction for our employees as well. So if there's any questions on that, be happy to answer it, or about the insurance.
Commissioners, anything? All right, good on that one. We got 2 second readings in here. Our 2 readings on the ordinances, I'm going to turn to our ordinance committee chair. Here, the first is on 667 is on election, basically us getting in compliance with some state tightening up here.
The big change in the elections ordinance, as I'm remembering now, is that we are updating our ordinance to align with the policy change we made to move our elections to even years. There are a couple of other minor updates in that ordinance change, but the big thing is making sure our ordinance lines up with our now practice of holding these local elections in the even years and recognizing all of the savings that come with that.
Sure.
On the mobile food vendor piece, we're reducing what I would consider an overly burdensome regulation, as was presented to us on the required aggregate insurance for mobile food vendors in the city. I think we were $1 million above Grand Rapids, and we are reducing that to better align with our peers in the region. And I think, as we've constantly discussed, that regulation in total is probably due for some further review and how we're handling those cases. But I think this is our first step in trying to make sure that we're not overdoing it.
No, well done on the, I know we're going through a bit of an overhaul on the ordinances and the stuff that's common, not common sense. We're making changes too, so well done there. Any questions on 667 or 668 from the commissioners? All right, seeing none, I think that covers us and everything else then. Why don't we jump to commissioner and city manager comments? I'll start with our city clerk down to the right.
Yeah, so just, again, it's election time. We're about 2 weeks out, so we're pretty busy in the office right now. Really just wanted to give an update about absentee voting ballots. To date, we've had 74 people through the office in person requesting absentee ballots. So kind of like in and out constantly through our days. 12 of those have been spoiled. That is common for this type of an election with the straight party ticket. A lot of people don't understand how that works, so we're educating a lot of people. Just today, we received in 264 absentee voter ballots from over the weekend and from today, so quite a few. As of right now, we've issued 5,234, and we've had 2647 returns, so about 50% of those have been returned so far, which is fantastic. So that's where we are.
All right, good job.
Just one update from Planning Commission. We approved on Wednesday a distribution center in the new Northridge West development. It's the first piece, I believe, of that development to be developed, and I believe we will be seeing some activity at this level as a part of that, because the first development going in triggers the special assessment district. But I think there's some ongoing discussion about how the special assessment is going to be handled moving forward for the property. So just mentioning that to say we may see some activity here on behalf of that parcel once again.
All right, Commissioner Babcock?
Parks and Rec Committee met 2 weeks ago on Tuesday and had Veritas back to review some of the comments from the public survey, which is still open and they're still collecting data. So they won't put that together formally until that's closed. But they did have some good turnout so far, and I'm excited to see what they do going forward. But yeah, got some good insights so far, and we'll see where it goes.
Thank you. Commissioner Growers? Commissioner Chase? Shane.
I'm good.
Don't really have any other,
Schmalzell, but
Yes,
not yet.
sitting
Maybe
in for
a couple
Commissioner
years,
Burke.
yeah.
No real updates, but I know there are a couple reps here, I think, on the second readings of the rezoning, so I don't know if there's any questions on the rezonings for either one of those folks or not. For the Lewis Farms rezoning and the Northridge West, kind of related to what Steve said, that's the rezoning that's associated with that bigger parcel. Other than that, I really don't have any other comments tonight.
All right, two quick things. I'm gonna ask, Officer Barrera Juarez, maybe to come up to the mic in a second, as, I'll give a little background, welcome him. I don't think he's met a lot of the commissioners yet, and, had a chance to spend some time with Uriel, and, excited to see him on board with us, and, so maybe in a second, I'll have you come up to the microphone, if your field training corporal allows you to come up. Then we'll come up, have you give a little background, where you went to school and police academy and all that stuff. So that's one thing. So as you're getting thoughts together, just a couple of quick updates. Right Place. We had a quarterly, I forget the title of it. It was a municipal leaders roundtable out at the Van Andel Library, and some inspiration from that library of as we're talking about things, and I learned a few things. But one thing, we had MEDC in the room along with the Right Place and a bunch of the city and township leaders from the area. Learned we had a few more tools in the toolbox. We talked about regional strategic site readiness initiative, just a number of different things there just to help us from the industrial development standpoint. Second is Grand Valley Metro Council. I attended my first executive committee meeting as a member of that part of the group. And did any of you or all of you get the November 9th invite for the annual dinner at the Whitecaps?
Yes.
You did not. We'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, I think I did.
Would have come from the Metro Council. You might be new enough yet. They hadn't updated the email list, so I'll make sure to get that to you. So it's November 9th at the Whitecaps ballpark. Okay, fine, be that way. So thank you to ITC for sponsoring that, as they normally do. And I think this is our first time back together pre-pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. So
Is it dinner or luncheon?
dinner, nighttime thing. So it's a really nice event. So that'll be it. Officer Juarez, would you like to come up? Welcome. And if that button is not, red light does not look to be on, if you press that button in the middle, red light will come on. Perfect.
Hello.
Welcome. Good evening.
So I'm Officer Uriel Barrera Juarez. I come from Grand Rapids, is where I grew up pretty much my whole life. I went to the Aviation Academy for high school. And I also did KCTC, which kind of jump-started my love for law enforcement. The summer after I graduated, I was part of the Metro High School Police Academy. Just continued my education and gave me a little crash course of what a real academy would be like. Thankfully, I was given a scholarship to go to GRCC for their academy through doing that, and that's actually where I met an officer that was from Walker. Just kind of started that, background and seeing what Walker was all about. And then once I actually got into the academy at CC, I met Sergeant Maley, and he was my driving instructor, and he kind of shook my hand after all of it and gave me a little business card and said, hey, if you're looking for a job, look into Walker. And didn't really know much about Walker. I frankly didn't even know where Walker was, or that Standell was part of Walker or whatnot. So I started doing my research and found out that I really loved it here. Once I actually did a couple of ride-alongs, that actually is what solidified, yeah, I want to work here. And it's the people. Actually I had a couple people ask me, what are the things you look at when you apply at all these places? And for me, the first thing was I want to be close to home. So it was close enough to home, but it wasn't about money or benefits or, all these things, although they're nice to look at. Obviously, it's a thing you should, worry about, but it was the people. And without a doubt, I can say that I'm, glad I'm here, and it's an honor to be part of Walker, and the team that you guys have built here is awesome. So glad to be a part of it.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming up. And between Uriel and Officer Brown as well. We got two pretty good ones on board here, so I'm excited about our two newest hires. So thanks for coming up. Thank you, Corporal. Appreciate you allowing me to come up. So recognize
meet you
that.
all.
So
Thank you.
thank you. All right, we are at 6:51. If we do not have anything else for the good of the order, we'll take a quick few-minute recess and get started promptly at 7 o'clock.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for gathering us all here tonight. Please continue to watch over us tonight as we make decisions for the city and going forward. Continue to provide protection for our police, fire, paramedics, and our military. Thank you for the warm weather that we've had the last couple of days, as well as the changing leaves indicating the changing seasons. In your name, amen.
If you'd like to invite everybody to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. If I could please ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner DeShane,
Present.
Commissioner Chase,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present.
Commissioner Babcock,
Present.
and Commissioner Gilbert,
Present.
and Mayor Carey.
Present. I'd like to have a motion to excuse Commissioner Burke's absence.
So moved.
Support.
Gilbert.
Support.
Motion Commissioner Gilbert, support Commissioner DeShane. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, next on the list is approval of the October 10th, 2022 City Commission meeting minutes. Is there any question on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
Support.
Chase, Commissioner Groders, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, next on the list is public comment on any agenda items only. Comment on agenda items. Seeing none, consent agenda, two items. One is the expenditures in the amount of $1.406,501.99. And then we received the presentation on the purchase of the used High Ranger bucket truck. I really want to give Dennis an extra shout out. From a mechanical standpoint, he went down a list of things that he is extremely comfortable with his garage, repairing things back there. I just think from a fiduciary perspective, it's a great use of the city's resources. So hats off to him and Gary and Daryl for allowing him to do all the research on it. So if there's no questions on set items, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner DeShane, Commissioner Chase, any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? All right, we're good. Next on the list is Resolution 22-639. This is electing to comply with Public Act 152 of 2011 by exercising the city's right to exempt itself from the requirements of the Public Act for the next succeeding year. We covered this at the 6:30 committee of the whole meeting. Is there any other discussions on PA 152? I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution 22-639 is passed. Next on the list is the second reading of the rezone request from MPUD to CPUD and RPUD 2 for Moose Farms located at 1500 Wilson Avenue Northwest. We have covered this as our second reading. Is there any other questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are good. Next on the list is ordinance 22-523, is the second reading of the IPUD rezoning for Northridge West project at 3410 4 Mile Road Northwest. Is there any questions or discussion on said second reading? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
So moved. Support.
All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? Thank you. Next on the list is ordinance 22-667. This is the first reading of amendments to chapter 30, sections 30-1 through 30-3, and deletion of chapter 30, sections 30-4 and 30-5 of the City Code of Ordinances, City of Walker, Michigan. We covered this around the election, in terms of elected officials and the election dates. Thank you. Codifying that at the 6:30 whole meeting. Is there any discussion or questions on this? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Gilbert, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're good. Next on the list is ordinance 22-668, the first reading of amendments to chapter 22, section 223 of the City
Yeah, I'll just make a quick comment that while I think it's important that we approve this tonight, I do see it as kind of a short-term solution, and I mean, ideally, what I would like to move towards is reciprocity in licensing and kind of just an acceptance of if you can get licensed in Grand Rapids for the mobile food vending, we should be accepting of those conditions. But just putting that out in the air so everyone can kind of chew on it and, again, feel that we should move forward with this tonight. Motion.
Support. Yeah, I want to remind everybody that they are still taking donations for the veterans. So if anybody listening or here or on the commission wants to do that, please go to Walker Ice and Fitness. I believe that's where they're taking them. Yes. Okay. Okay. Or here.
Okay, cool, thank you. Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Groders, Babcock, Commissioner Gilbert, Madam Clerk. All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval or a motion to adjourn with support, please.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Babcock, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.